Epstein's friends sent him bawdy letters for a 50th birthday album. One was from Donald Trump. Now, their friendship, you'll recall, went back decades. The article details a moment from 2003 and some of the letters that Epstein's one-time girlfriend and accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, gathered for a birthday tribute album. According to the Wall Street Journal, pages from the album are among documents examined by Justice Department officials who investigated Epstein and Maxwell. The paper, citing people who have reviewed the pages. Here's the passage about then-citizen Trump's letter. Quote,
that's Anderson Cooper reporting on the big story yesterday that was widely hyped up. There was the murmurs that something was coming from one of the three major DC or three major newspapers, and it was the Wall Street Journal. And Trump has lost his mind over this. He's suing the Wall Street Journal over it. Before, there was an all-out mad dash to try and prevent it from being published, and then it got published. So we'll dive into it. I'll give you my thoughts on it after looking at some of the reactions. I think, interestingly, starting with this actually is fascinating. Rolling Stone reports Team Trump was on effing warpath to kill story about salacious letter to Epstein. Trump said that he called Murdoch and said, kill it. It didn't work. It was Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday, writes the Wall Street Journal, and Ghislaine Maxwell was preparing a special gift to mark the occasion. She turned to Epstein's family and friends. One of them was Donald Trump. Maxwell collected letters from Trump and dozens of Epstein's other associates for a 2003 birthday album, according to the documents reviewed by the Wall Street Journal. Pages from the leather-bound album assembled before Epstein was first arrested in 2006. This is 2003, first arrested in 2006. We are to believe that 3 years before he was arrested, there was no signs that maybe he was a bad guy that Trump could have picked up on, are among the documents examined by Justice Department officials who investigated Epstein and Maxwell years ago. All right, so this is the part that's a little writing. Trump says he didn't write this. This is fabricated. Seems like a strange thing for the Wall Street Journal, the conservative Wall Street Journal to fabricate. Okay. The letter bearing Trump's name, which was reviewed by the Journal, is bawdy. Like others in the album, it contains several lines of typewritten text framed by the outline of a naked woman, which appears to be hand-drawn with a heavy marker. A pair of small arcs denotes the woman's breasts, and the future president's signature is a squiggly Donald below her waist, mimicking pubic hair. So I guess Trump wanted his signature to be her pubic hair. The letter concludes, "Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret," is his letter to Epstein. And here's the part that he wrote in this letter. It's written like some sort of imaginary conversation. Voiceover, "There must be more to life than having everything." Donald says, "Yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is." Jeffrey says, "Nor will I, since I also know what it is." Donald says, "We have certain things in common, Jeffrey." Jeffrey says, "Yes, we do, come to think of it." Donald said, "Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that?" Jeffrey said, "As a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you." Donald says, "A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret." What's the secret? Shut up! That's the secret. Would you shut up already? Now, Trump goes, "I don't write like that. I've never written," the way he described it was, "I've never written a picture." Okay, you mean draw, but all right, I get it. He's never written a picture, and that's not how I even write or talk. But that is the most Trump letter ever. Here's why. There's nothing interesting, while also so much. Like, that didn't sound very clear. Let me restate. Listen to this dialogue. This is how Trump imagined people talk. Trump says something, and they just confirm it. There must be more to life than having everything. Trump goes, "There is, but I won't tell you." Jeffrey goes, "Me too," essentially. And then Donald goes, "We have certain things in common." Jeffrey goes, "Yes." And then Trump goes, "Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that?" Jeffrey goes, "Yeah." That's the conversation. And then Donald goes, "You're my best pal." So I actually think that tracks with Trump's logic, that he, even in what's supposed to be a salacious bawdy letter where he's drawing breasts and stuff and Donald signature pubic hair, he still can't think up a more interesting conversation where both characters say more things than just Trump thinking a couple thoughts and Jeffrey going totally. But obviously the part that is leading to many questions is the wonderful secret part. What's this secret you keep referring to? A lot to discuss today. Welcome everybody to the morning show. I hope you're doing absolutely wonderful. A rare situation here once again. It is producer Jaden's 1 year anniversary with his beautiful girlfriend. And so that means that it's just Cole and I. We're shorthanded. There he is. And if I seem more disjointed than normal, or I'm looking down more trying to read your super chats, that is why. Because normally we have more hands on deck and we don't have the soundboard today, which is unfortunate because someone just posted clean, beautiful Cole. Thank you to DLO Designs. And then David said, do you have a natural Texas draw you can play up? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I told the story of how as a kid I had a much more distinct accent, but then I kind of worked it out of me. So I don't know, when I do my Southern accent, it changes every time whenever I'm impersonating other people. And I don't know if it's really Texas or what I've heard in movies of other kind of areas geographically, but it's something. It's something. I like that you're saying I should play it up. So then Trump, in response to this, was posting like a maniac. He's saying the Wall Street Journal printed a fake letter, supposedly to Epstein. These are not my words, not the way I talk. Also, I don't draw pictures. Okay, there he did say draw. I think in his comment to the Wall Street Journal, he said, I don't write pictures. I told Rupert Murdoch it was a scam, that he shouldn't print this fake story, but he did. And now I'm going to sue his ass off. It's going to fall right off his body. And that of his third-rate newspaper. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Justin said, Luke, can I buy you a drink? Yes, I guess in a sense you did there with that super chat. I appreciate it. Then he says different things. He's talking about the Fed. He says, if there was a smoking gun on Epstein, why didn't the Democrats who controlled the files for years and had Garland and Comey in charge use it? Because they had nothing. It is funny how he's made this all about himself, which makes it more strange. Like if he had just come out and said, we really just believe there's nothing more to know, he would have been accused of a cover-up. But the way that he immediately goes, no, this is another witch hunt against me. This is another political attack against me. If they had the bombshell against me, why wouldn't they have released it? Who brought you up? I mean, all of us, but but you didn't have to say that. And then he's saying he's excited that Rupert Murdoch is going to have to testify in his lawsuit against his pile of garbage newspaper, the Wall Street Journal. That'll be an interesting experience. Now, I don't like Rupert Murdoch. He has been one of the most destructive figures to our political dialogue in American history, literally. He created the type of, even though I'm sure someone was going to fill this vacuum at some point, he really set the model for low quality, high rage, high engagement media in a profound way. And I can still, like I acknowledged with Elon, say I'm a little bit popping the popcorn watching them go at it, but I also see this as another example of Trump trying to attack political outlets that he doesn't like. And that on principle is terrible. And so I will be principled on that. Aaron Rupar said, wow, the Journal reports that when reporters contacted Trump 2 days ago about this story, he threatened to sue if it was published, then hours later claimed that Obama and Biden made up the Epstein files. Gunboat said, Trump is certainly on the list, but it would be funny if Clinton isn't on it. That's their white whale. That would really throw them for a loop. Dark Brandon said, hey, Luke, I made a cartoon of the interaction as described between Trump and Epstein. If you want to show it, keep up the good fight. I would love to show it. Can you send it through the contact form on the website? I could probably pull that up while we're still live if I can remember to. Thank you, Jay, for the super chat. I might not be able to read as many super chats today. I'm sorry, just because of our lesser staff. Not lesser staff. You're not lesser. Lesser in numbers. Staff, lower number. You get the point. Truncated. You're not truncated. So it sounds like maybe from Aaron Rupar's post here, the Journal contacting Trump about this story 2 days ago is what caused him to start preparing the blaming on the Democrats. Like him rolling out that it's because of Comey and Biden and Obama and they wrote the files and incoherently yelling that. Now we know that came out of nowhere. It's because he got the phone call, do you want to comment on this story, is going to come out in a couple days. That's what it seems to be now, which is a bonkers fold to this story. Now, what's interesting is this is actually causing MAGA to circle the wagons around him. So they were all mad at him, and now they're going, whoa, wait. We were attacking him, but you don't get to attack him, Wall Street Journal. And they don't feel like the letter is a notable story. I'll circle back to that thought in a little bit, but what's fascinating is they're going both it's fake and it's not significant. So on one hand, I'm seeing the defense from J.D. Vance and from Benny Johnson and from Scott Jennings is Trump doesn't even write like that. Trump doesn't even write pictures anywho. Which some of that's been debunked. Like I'll show you in a second. There's a thing that Trump sketched at one point that hangs in some museum or something somewhere. But how can you both argue that's no big deal at all? And that's not him. Please don't say that's him. That's terrible. No, sue him. Don't post that. Don't post that. That's what they were doing before. If you don't think it's damaging because it's just another example of how they were besties for a while, but like we're all over that by now is kind of what they're saying, then why is it so important to you that I believe the letter's fake? If it's so unconsequential, why are you trying to convince me that the letter's fake? Now, honestly, I'll just get to this take now. When I saw all the posts, maybe I can find this, that were saying things, let me find this because this will, I think, give some context to my point here. Posts like this, exclusive, a heavyweight newsroom is loading a Trump-Epstein bombshell. Stand by for detonation developing. And I was like, oh gosh, here we go, baby. And then it was the letter. I was kind of like, oh. I mean, I already know that when Trump downplays his relationship with Epstein, it's BS. They were besties. Maybe the letter helps some other people accept that, but I've already known that. And so I was a little bit let down because I thought it was going to be something bigger. It is notable. He's speaking all sexual and talking about their little secret that they have together. Epstein's not a person you want to have secrets with. So it is notable. But I also thought, oh, yeah, I remember actually predicting one of these big outlets is going to come out with a story that's like, breaking, Trump and Epstein were besties. It's like, yes, we got that. Can we uncover anything else? But MAGA, who was very interested in this story, is now flipping around and going, it's not even a big deal, but also it's fake. So if it is a big deal, it doesn't matter because it's fake. Thank you all so much for being here. Joe says, Luke, I think it's as much a love letter as a birthday letter. It doesn't reveal much, but I think as an expression from Trump, it shows love. Older generation gay men should pick up on this. I did. Whoa. That's a fold in the story. You're saying that from your perspective, this is some sort of love letter, not just like bro love, but love. It's not my take. It's somebody else's. Mike Johnson didn't have a comment.
Any comment on the Wall Street Journal report about the letter that President Trump sent to Jeffrey Epstein years ago?
I haven't seen it. I can't comment on it. I've been a little busy today.
What are your thoughts?
Can't comment on it. This is the funniest thing ever. Aaron Rupar said, just think, if the Wall Street Journal published Trump's letter and Johnson saw it, he'd have to report it to his son as porn intake. Cole doesn't know where this comes from, so let me give him some perspective.
of it, and then it sends a report to your accountability partner. So my accountability partner right now is Jack, my son, right? And so he's 17. So he and I get a report of all the things that are on our phones or all of our devices once a week. If anything objectionable comes up, your accountability partner gets an immediate notice. I'm proud to tell you my son he's got a clean slate, all right? Yeah. But we get a report and it says, hey, no activity of concern, and it's really sensitive. It'll pick up almost anything. It looks for keywords, search terms, and also images, and it will send your accountability partner a blurred picture of the image. And so on occasion I get one. I was just looking at the one from this week I got on Jack, and it said this is the only one that may be questionable, and it's this blurred image of two women talking in a live screen thing, and I zoom in and I have to unblur it, and it's two middle-aged teachers. Love it.
They cut off the clip. I think he's saying it wasn't anything sexual. But I love that it's like, I'm trying to stop watching porn. So me and my son, we send each other notifications whenever our phone identifies that maybe we're watching something sexual, and it sends you a blurred image. But when I get these blurred images from him, I'm like, hey, wait, it's blurred. How do I know if it's really porn? So then I have to unblur it. And then I'm all confused because after unblurring it, it sends a notification to my son saying that I'm watching it, and he unblurs it, and now we're all effed up. Now we're all messed up. Yeah, I think this letter was across a line. I love how he's like, it sent me a blurred image, I unblurred it, and no need to fear, it was just two middle-aged teachers. Oh, Mike. Good stuff. So JD Vance's response was, forgive my language, but this story is complete and utter bullshit. The Wall Street Journal should be ashamed for publishing it. Where's this letter? Would you be shocked to learn that they never showed it to us before publishing it? Does anyone honestly believe this sounds like Trump? Yeah, kind of. It does, kind of. And then Trump was going, the Wall Street Journal, Rupert Murdoch personally, were warned directly by President Donald J. Trump that the supposed letter they printed by President Trump to Epstein was a fake. So what's being pointed out here is that on one hand, J.D. Vance is denying the existence of the letter or saying it wasn't shown to them. And on the other hand, Trump is saying he said that he was presented at least what was in the letter and denied it. Now, I don't know why he's speaking in third person. President Donald J. Trump warned Rupert Murdoch that he should not post this because Trump is not guilty. He like switches off third person and first person. It's confusing. Ben Meiselas said, my guess is the Wall Street Journal story on Trump comes from Ghislaine and was a warning shot. Just a guess. I don't know. Everyone's speculating. Be careful out there. Lots of speculation. But Trump said, I never wrote a picture in my life. And then they have this, a sketch Donald Trump made of the Manhattan skyline is up for auction. And that's about as good as a Trump sketch would be. I believe that's his. I believe he wrote that. I don't want to see the image he wrote of a naked woman because it's going to be terrible. It's going to be terrible. It's going to be a stick figure with boobs. That's all it's going to be. So then I'm sure you're wondering, what is it that Fox News is doing amid all of this? What's Fox News doing? I can tell you what Fox News is doing. Flashback, Biden's biggest blunders.
Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night. So I was sort of raised in the Puerto Rican community at home. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by the, you know the thing. I want to
Listen, folks, I grew up in Scranton, a lot of Puerto Ricans. I practically grew up in Puerto Rico. They called it Puerto Scranton. Puerto Scranton. I said, wow, listen, that's crazy. That's why I'm announcing that I'm gonna be auctioning off Puerto Rico. What? Why are you talking about that, Fox News? I love how they even have to admit it's a flashback. They're like, flashback. I don't know. Rerunning the greatest hits. You remember Biden's blunders? Oh, it's too good. If you are joining us today and you're not a regular viewer of the morning show, Monday through Friday we're here, 10:30-ish. I sit down at 10:30. and then we figure out if we're ready or not. So somewhere in 10:30 to 11 Eastern time, the morning stream starts. I'd love to join you. It's crazy. It's off the hook like this every time. And if you want to support the work that we do, clicking the join button below is very helpful to get the bonus show. And to be a member, it goes a long way. Here, Laura Ingraham teased that they were going to talk about the Wall Street Journal piece after the commercial break, and I'll show you what happened after the commercial break.
Coming up, Democrats pretend to care about an issue that has the podcast world going crazy. We're asking for transparency, but we have new news coming on about this as well from the Wall Street Journal, a new report tonight. Next.
And now I will play what they said on Laura Ingraham about the Wall Street Journal piece. They didn't talk about it. How do you do that? And after the break, big stuff, Wall Street Journal, fake letter, but also it's not a big deal. But if it is a big deal, it's probably fake. And then they come back from the break. According to Asen, unless he missed it, I wasn't watching live last night, so I can't independently verify this. But according to him, this was not something they circled back to, which is kind of funny. Kind of funny. I think they had to do... Oh, I'm sorry. We were going to talk about the Wall Street Journal piece, but we do have some breaking news coming in right now at this hour. Please stay with us.
Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night. So I was sort of raised in the Puerto Rican community at home. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by the... you know the thing.
Fool me once. Shame on me. Fool me. You can't get fooled again. That kind of is a similar little space. All right, one thing I've heard people bringing up before I make that point, Vincent said, you know what's weird, not hearing anything from Melania? She was also with Trump most of the time. Yeah, Melania has this unique ability where the second that Trump's confirmed or potential sexual wrongdoings surge into the spotlight, she goes to the Batcave. Like she very magically vanishes. It's a magician's act. She's just gone during his trial. Obviously, right now, Allie Quinn said Lawrence O'Donnell mentioned that JD low-key asked for the B-Day card to be released, which would be bad for Trump. Yeah, I feel like, you remember when the Atlantic piece came out? And they were going, I don't even believe these texts exist. Come on, this is ridiculous. No, there's nothing classified. So then Jeffrey Goldberg was like, all right, here's the text. And they were like, well, I don't even care about that. So I feel like that'll happen. It's fake. They made it up. And then they'll post it. And they'll be like, it's not a big deal. One question I've heard a lot of people bring up, though, is it seems like a lot of MAGAs are, for the first time in their lives, contemplating a scenario where Trump is a really bad guy and is covering for something. I've even explained to you the scenario where that's not what's happening. The bad guy piece, yes, but the covering part, maybe not. But more and more, it looks worse and worse. But they're starting to contend with, wait, could he be involved in the worst of stuff? And here's what's been bothering me. While that would be a big news story if it were confirmed, I don't think it would be, because I think it would have come out by now. But we already knew enough. We already knew enough to know how bad he was. Why are they acting like this would be the thing that made them realize he's terrible, even just in the sexual context, in the abusive context? And that kind of brought to my mind this clip of him during his E. Jean Carroll testimony.
And you say, and again, this has become very famous in this video, I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. Just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything. That's what you said, correct?
Well, historically, that's true with stars.
It's true with stars that they can grab women by the pussy?
Well, that's what it's. If you look over the last million years, I guess that's been largely true. Not always, but largely true. Unfortunately or fortunately.
And you consider yourself to be a star?
I think you can say that, yeah.
And
on tape saying he sexually assaults women, but then you go, that's locker room talk. Found liable for doing just that. It's sort of witch hunt thing. And then whatever the hell you call that. Stars for the last 1 million years? What? Fortunately or unfortunately. So, yeah, this is interesting, but let's not start going, wow, look, MAGA, maybe they'll realize he's a bad... They should have realized that a long time ago. David has been a member for a month and said, why do you mention your live show time in Eastern time when you're in Texas, Central time? Hey, David, how you gonna call me out like that? No, the reason is because I feel like Eastern time's more the standard in TV, you know? I don't know. More people live in the Eastern time zone, right? So it just seems respectful. But yeah, it's 9:30 my time. So if you're judging our late starts, I don't know, that's kind of early to have a whole show prepped. The other big news yesterday was this.
On another note, I know that many in the media have been speculating about bruising on the president's hand and also swelling in the president's legs. So in the effort of transparency, the president wanted me to share a note from his physician with all of you today. In recent weeks, President Trump noted mild swelling in his lower legs. In keeping with routine medical care and out of an abundance of caution, this concern was thoroughly evaluated by the White House medical unit. The president underwent a comprehensive examination, including diagnostic vascular studies. Bilateral lower extremity venous Doppler ultrasounds were performed and revealed chronic venous insufficiency, a benign and common condition, particularly in individuals over the age of 70. Importantly, there was no evidence of deep vein thrombosis or arterial disease. Laboratory testing included a complete blood count, comprehensive metabolic panel, coagulation profile, D-dimer, B-type natriuretic peptide, and cardiac biomarkers. All results were within normal limits. An echocardiogram was also performed and confirmed normal cardiac structure and function. No signs of heart failure, renal impairment, or systemic illness were identified. Additionally, recent photos of the president have shown minor bruising on the back of his hand. This is consistent with minor soft tissue irritation from frequent handshaking and the use of aspirin, which is taken as part of a standard.
A lot of people find that to be an unconvincing justification for his hand. I posit that we should be grateful to have a president who shakes hands so vigorously, so triumphantly, that upon release, the tissue of his hand is traumatized, despite the fact that where the bruising's happening is not where the hand touches. If you can... Matt, I only have one right hand. Shoot. Is there any way your hand can reach all the way over here? Let's see. Look at this. Look, I guess his thumb kind of touches. Thank you. But like, it's all the top of his hand. That's not really where most of the squeezing's happening. Regardless, I think it's pretty special that we have a president who shakes hands with so much grit and courage and jerk motion that it literally bruises him. It's an explanation. I don't know. It's about as silly as this video of the, what's this company called? Astronomer CEO with supposedly his head of HR cheating on both of their respective spouses and getting caught at a Coldplay concert.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. I'm not quite sure. Yeah.
So that's just, there's so much about that. We'll get back to the news, but I was just riveted by this clip. Do not cheat. Don't. Bad. And in the case where you stumble across a situation where you're cheating, hypothetically, don't stop it. But if it happened and you get put on a Jumbotron, first of all, why are you going to concert with the person you're cheating with? That's crazy. But if you get put on the Jumbotron or on the screens, don't make it so obvious you're doing something wrong. It's like if a police officer, if you have a dead body in your trunk, don't do that either. But in the case where you do, you got a dead body trunk, drive the speed limit. Don't be drinking in the car, smoking weed, and don't hit on the gas right whenever the police officer drives by you. Just act like things are normal. No one would have noticed that no one would have even recognized who these people are if it weren't for the fact that they jumped like that. Now, I'm glad they did, because you should be caught, because you shouldn't cheat. You should stand by your commitments with your people. But what a weird move, number one. And number two, as I already referenced, what are you doing going to a concert and publicly canoodling? You're cheating. Why are you so proud about it? It's very strange. So, that's that. But back to Trump's medical diagnosis. I don't believe the hand thing, but it could be whatever. Maybe it's irritated. Maybe it's just, something weird. His ankles, that one seems legitimate.
Tonight, with recent photos showing what appear to be swelling in President Trump's ankles and bruises on his hands, this announcement from the White House.
In the effort of transparency, the president wanted me to share a note from his physician with all of you today.
Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt reading a letter from the president's doctor revealing he's been diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency.
By the way, I saw someone, Ty Thompson, said, why are we talking about this? If that was about the Coldplay story, I'm heartbroken. Who wouldn't want to talk about that? What? It's fun. We're having fun. We try to have fun.
A common swelling of the legs caused by blood pooling in the veins.
In recent weeks, President Trump noted mild swelling in his lower legs. Bilateral lower extremity venous Doppler ultrasounds were performed and revealed chronic venous insufficiency, a benign and common condition, particularly in individuals over the age of 70. Importantly, there was no evidence of
White House released noting an echocardiogram was also performed and confirmed normal cardiac structure and function. No signs of heart failure, renal impairment, or systemic illness were identified. Adding, the president remains in excellent health. The White House says the president, who's 79, is not experiencing pain or discomfort.
Chronic venous insufficiency, it's actually quite common. It occurs in about 40 to 50% of adults older than the age of 70.
We spoke to vascular surgeon Dr.
Yeah, so we are, people are saying that this isn't anything too severe. It's pretty common. But I also saw other people showing that once the ankles get that big, it seems to be more concerning than just in general. Like, let me show you. They said he's not experiencing any discomfort, but how? Why is this photo not showing up? What the heck? Here we go. How is this not uncomfortable? That seems like it would be uncomfortable. Even just fitting into your shoes. But regardless, no matter how much I don't like him, I wish him excellent health, even if he is not as... I love how they went, we just want to be really proactive and transparent with this. Really? You waited until his ankles were the size of a tree trunk? Okay. I don't know how transparent that is. We just wanted to get ahead of any speculation. We've been speculating for like 2 years about the hand thing. In the interest of full transparency, before any of you even notice anything differently, his ankles are really large. I couldn't think of a new way to say it. I was trying to think of a funny. I thought of a pool noodle, but that's not thick. What's like something thick that's not, that's funny? Like, I don't know. Just say it in the comments. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like, they waited to tell us until his legs were the size of, who's a linebacker in the NFL? J.J. Watt's arms. There we go. Waited until J.J. Watt's arms size. It's okay. It's not as funny when I take 3 minutes to figure it out. This reminded me of when Trump had the blood on his hands walking out of the courtroom, and then he got asked about it later once it was off of his hands, and he just kept going, look at my hands.
It looks like it's better.
My hand?
Yeah, cover what happened the other day.
What was wrong with it?
You didn't see the photos?
No. What was wrong with it?
The other one. Yeah. You want to tell us what happened with it?
Nothing. Maybe it's AI. Nothing. I didn't see that, sir.
Sir, what happened with your hands? Here are my hands. No, what? Why did they have red splotches on them? Here are my hands. What is wrong? No, we're asking you, sir. Are you telling me you didn't notice that you had red splotches all over your hands while you were waving? Okay. You had one guy on Fox, a doctor, saying, this makes sense, vigorous handshaking.
That's not serious. It's completely benign. It's cosmetic, and it's expected from a man in his late 70s who's standing on his feet all the time. And to your point about shaking hands, her point about shaking hands, Carolyn Levitt says, look, he's on an aspirin. He shakes a lot of hands. I've shaken the man's hand. He gives a very vigorous handshake.
So vigorous. That must be, put this back up, that must be so annoying. That must be so annoying when he puts makeup on for the other people shaking his hands. Like, hey, Mr. President, what the heck? Why is this wet? And then you lift away and you just have tan makeup on your fingers. He gives a vigorous handshake. What can he say? Do you see what I mean? Look at where the guy's thumb is versus where all the brown is. I guess it could carry across, but I gotta up my handshake game because I never even have marks on them, except for the immediate aftermath. George Santos is saying, I don't care if Trump pardons me. I don't care if I'm in prison. I don't care if I die in prison. I don't know why he threw that out there, but he said it. I am going to support Trump.
Here's something this app and the internet and the users of X don't get. It doesn't matter if I get pardoned or not. I will continue to support President Trump. I've supported him for a decade. It's not going to be because of some self-centered issue of my own that I'm going to stop supporting him. So stop trying to think that you're owning me like he's not going to pardon you. Turn on him. Dude, never. If I turn on him, I turn on everything I believe in and everything that I've believed in the last decade.
You've believed in like 78 different personalities of yourself, so I don't really know what you believe.
So to all of you trolls that keep saying he's not going to pardon you no matter how hard he kisses your ass, you kiss his ass, I don't care. I don't care if I get killed in prison. I don't care if I stay in prison for 7 years at this point, because you all clearly think this is a normal world. I am just so glad that whether I die or spend 7 years in prison, we have Donald Trump as president until 2028. And guess what? He's going to save this country, no matter if you like it or not. So buckle up, buttercups, and fuck off. Bye.
Aw, that's fun. Man, it looks like he got new teeth, too. He got, like, fresh Botox and new teeth and a nice, fresh eyebrow job. Eyebrow work. What is it called? An eyebrowing. What's it called? Eyebrow? Threading? Is it threading? He got a nice threading done. Before going to prison. That's kind of strange. Like, I don't think you need to worry about that. The cosmetic stuff. I think you'll be fine. I don't think people will be judging that there. If there's one place that they're really chill about how plump your cheeks are, face, oh my gosh, face cheeks. What am I saying? Prison. They won't care how your eyebrows look or whatever in terms of judging you. They might judge you because of your public profile. I don't know why he keeps throwing out that he might die. I hope not. That'd be terrible. Why are you saying you're going to die? He's acting like he's maybe more significant than he is. And if the deep state, like Epstein, tries to kill me, that'd be hilarious if before he goes to prison he posts, I'm not suicidal. It's the deep state if I die. You're not important enough for the deep state, George. I think that's the worst insult I can think of. You're not important enough for the powers that be to fake your suicide. So let's just drop that. Oh, goodness gracious. This Russian lady was this close to getting it. She says food prices are going up. The economy's getting worse. It's all because of how much we're spending on the war. And what needs to happen to solve that? You would think she just set up all the little 1 + 1 =, but she doesn't get the answer 2.
Откуда я знаю? Что наше правительство надо заботиться о пенсионерах? Нет, конечно. С чем связано? Откуда я знаю? С войной, по большому счету. С войной. Все туда идет. Все деньги в войну идут.
Что делать с этим? Как исправить ситуацию?
Зеленского надо убрать. Все исправится.
So she's, again, for our podcast listeners who weren't able to read the caption, she's like, all the money's going to the war machine, so we can't afford stuff. And the reporter goes, so what needs to happen? And she goes, Zelensky needs to be removed, then everything will be fixed. Zelensky? What? You were so close. You were you were so close. Or you could stop the war. That's also an option. Is that not an option? Why do you, as a Russian citizen, get to have a say of who the Ukrainians choose as their president? Bonkers. This is insane. You know how CBS settled with Trump or Paramount on his bogus lawsuit, but they caved even though they could have won it so that he didn't continue his political retribution against them? Now CBS is canceling Colbert's show right after he publicly on the air trashed CBS for that settlement. CBS canceled Colbert's show, Elizabeth Warren writes, just 3 days after Colbert called out CBS parent company Paramount for its $16 million settlement with Trump, a deal that looks like bribery. Bribery. Been a long time since I glitched on that word. I always want to say bribery. America deserves to know if his show is canceled for political reasons. Watch and share his message. Yeah, I would play this for you, but I can't. Because speaking of Paramount, they'll drop the hammer on our channel. Boof, whenever I play clips from them. But he essentially said, this is bribery. Or bribery, however you say it. And they were just trying to allow for the merger to go through, Paramount Skydance. And this wasn't about a legitimate argument from Trump, but fear of Trump. And now they're canceling Colbert's show for saying that? We don't know. I should emphasize, we don't know. They're saying, no, it's just a financial choice. But if nothing else, kind of like with a lot of the Epstein stuff, all right, even if I believe that, what the heck is your PR like? That's a crazy time to do it, right? Why couldn't you have waited a week? Right after he does that, like 2 days later, you make this decision? To make such a decision, clearly it was in the works for a while. So I get that it wasn't just because of this. But if nothing else, the PR of it is a disaster. And if you were doing it because he has now a couple times spoken out against CBS and Paramount for their decisions and caving to Trump, it is a really scary time. And I am going to shamelessly transition this into a plug for this show. It is a really scary time to be doing anti-Trump media. So if you appreciate it, just being subscribed is good. If you want to go a step further, I would love to see some members jump in here. I know we have a bigger viewing audience today than usual. So if you don't normally watch the stream or you don't get the bonus show, you're not a member, I would appreciate next to the subscribe button, hitting the join button. I'll read out your name and thank you if you do that while we're still alive. It goes a long way. We have a lot of fun on the bonus show, and it's a special little community that we have. Nancy Pelosi was making this argument, and I'll respond to it.
You know well, too well, the power of conspiracy theories. Your husband was attacked by a man who'd fallen for them.
That's right.
Is it your sense there's anything the president can do now to get his supporters to move off of the Epstein issue? Should he? Where do you land on this?
You know, again, this is a distraction. This is a distraction. We have major issues right here with things we're voting on today in the Congress, again, in terms of the rescission that the president and the Senate have sent back over.
All right, so essentially she's saying this is a distraction from everything else. No. Democrats never seem to be willing to lean into the political issues that they benefit from. Like, right now, Trump's own base is aggravated at him. Can we not do the let's ignore this story thing? Because it has a consequential outcome, not just what if we find out something new about the Epstein story, but something different. Tommy Vietor said, the Epstein files debacle is not a distraction. It strikes at the heart of Trump's appeal, which is that he operates outside of a system that MAGA wants to burn down. He's their hero with gasoline and a torch. If Trump looks like he's covering up for the elites, he's screwed. And so what I find really notable here from a political angle is that we've been trying to prove, because we have the facts on our side with this, to MAGA for so long, that Trump's not fighting the elites. He is the elite. In his policies, most consequentially, and the biggest example in modern American history of that type of behavior, that pro-elite behavior, is his big agenda item that's effing over low-income folks in service of the richest. We've been trying to prove that to them, and they weren't listening. But for the first time in a long time, until the letter story, now they're flipping back around strangely, but they finally were going, wait, is Trump the very establishment elite that we wanted him to fight? And if it's this story that will help them come to that realization and maybe take other observations into account, I think that's worthwhile. All right, a lot of people acted on that. That was awesome. Norma, thank you for the gifted memberships. Christy M, thank you for becoming a member by clicking the join button. Digital Design and Innovation, thank you for becoming a member. DJ Petra, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate all of you so very much. Again, for anyone else who's joining us, clicking the join button next to the subscribe button makes a big difference. Mike Johnson made one of the most absurd claims I've heard in a very long time on CNBC. Listen to this.
Look, the president is the most maligned and attacked political figure in the history of American politics. There's no question about it. But he's also the most resilient. And you see at the same time, his approval ratings are skyrocketing. CNN had a story, I think, a day or two ago. He was at 90% approval rating. There's never been a president that high. So the more that they...
90, apparently Trump is at 90% approval rating. A majority of Democrats supposedly approve of what Trump's doing. Why even say that? No president since Bush right after 9/11, and maybe he didn't even get to 90, but he was maybe in the high 80s. No president has hit 90% Trump approval rating. Let's see if I can get this pulled up. Trump's disapproval rating hits record for the second term. Was he thinking disapproval? Trump's disapproval rating, survey conducted last week, shows 55% disapprove of the way Trump is handling the job compared to 41% who approve. 41% versus 90. Very different. He also didn't really understand how the Fed's monetary policy is structured. He goes, why wouldn't they lower interest rates? The economy is so hot. But obviously that term hot usually points to the reason the Fed wouldn't lower interest rates. Now, in this case, yeah, it's sort of a fear of the incoming inflation because of tariffs. Otherwise, they would be able to lower interest rates. But the justification for lowering interest rates usually isn't the economy is so hot.
Mr. Speaker, do you think that Jay Powell is going to be around till May? We're trying to figure out exactly how to handicap that at this point. Do you think he should be around in May? Is there, I guess, people that wishes that he wouldn't, if he would resign, that's probably would be easier, or that's probably not going to happen, though. What do you think? How does this play out in your view?
Joe Kernan, that was a disastrous 25 seconds. What are we? You asked like 3 questions and we're so... Can we listen to that again? What was... Sorry, we'll get to the Mike Johnson point. You're like, you do this professionally, right? What was that? He just felt like he was just chit-chatting at a bar with somebody.
Mr. Speaker, do you think that Jay Powell is going to be around till May? We're trying to figure out exactly how to handicap that at this point. Do you think he should be around in May? Is there, I guess, people that wishes that he wouldn't, if he would resign, that's probably would be easier, or that's probably not going to happen, though. What do you think? How does this play out in your view?
Oh, that's bonkers. So some people want the Fed chair to resign, but if he doesn't, then what would you do in relation to? So what do you think? But before you answer that question, how do you feel? But before you answer that question, what is it that you think will play out here? But before you answer, what is Trump's take on all of this?
I'm as anxious to see how that plays out as you are. I will tell you that the sentiment here, certainly my opinion, is that we should reduce interest rates. The American economy is hot, and we have so many good things going on. We're delivering over and over the Republican majority here for the American people, not just the one big beautiful bill, not just with the rescissions package that we passed last night, clawing back $9 billion of wasted taxpayer funds.
If it's too hot, you don't want to cut rates.
If it's hot, there will be inflation.
Right, if it's too hot, maybe you don't want to cut. Right. If it's, there is an argument made by Kevin Warsh that it's hot in a way that could be disinflationary because of AI and productivity. So maybe it is possible, but normally you think of a rip-roaring economy as not a good time to cut rates.
Yes, except that the sectors of the economy right now that are giving us the most concern is, as the president's discussed, like with homeowners.
I cannot imagine being a CNBC viewer and watching that spaghetti throwing fest. It's just, what? I'm so discombobulated after watching that. You can take it down, Cole. Okay, so it's hot, but not so hot that you would need to cool it down. It's good hot, where you could really heat it up by lowering interest rates. It's hot, but not the inflationary hot. It's good hot, like Trump hot. Russell Brand weighed in on the whole Epstein situation, which, similar to Matt Gaetz, there's some people, maybe you just sit this one out. You're literally currently being prosecuted for rape. Maybe you just sit this one out, Russell. And maybe if we're having the conversation, you put a shirt on. Not whatever blouse this is. Maybe you put a shirt on that doesn't show half of your chest. It's just a thought. I don't know. I mean, no.
What we're talking about with the Epstein files is the kind of compromises that might pertain to extremely powerful individuals that have been in control of global events and the trajectory of global power for decades. That's why we're talking about the Clintons, the Obamas, the Bushes. Those kind of names are the names people are interested in. I think people also are capable of discerning between hedonism and decadence, even though that does bring to the forefront moral questions, because our leaders should be behaving in a moral and ethical way that is, if not supreme, at least is a good example to everyone else. Let me know if you agree with that in the comments and chat. But we can also see the difference between ghastly...
I don't have this sped up, by the way. I don't have this sped up.
Ghoulish criminality, coercion, trafficking, paedophilia, non-consensual activity at an institutional scale or even at the individual scale. These are clear crimes and they ought to be investigated, and if there's information pertaining to them, it should be released and revealed. Trump made his bones and his name by being the president and politician that was not afraid to say what was unsayable elsewhere, i.e. when it came to financial matters. I know about these tax loopholes because I used them, and so do Hillary Clinton's voters. And I guess that's the Trump people want to see around the Epstein files, and for some reason we are not seeing it. Do you believe that's because there are no files, there are no incriminating documents? And of course that leaves open questions like, why is Ghislaine Maxwell in jail? Is she just actually in jail for trafficking girls and children and women that didn't consent to what? Prince Andrew, who also, by the way, hasn't been convicted of anything? Or is there more to it? I would be in the latter camp. I'm guessing most of you are, but that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments. And
wow, you can tell how desperately nervous he is to talk about this. I've never seen him talk so fast. And maybe is there more to the case? So if you're mad that I'm close to President Trump, then don't worry about it. But at the end of that, I love when people do the I'm really scared to have a take on this, so I'm going to say it really quickly. But then I'll put it in the comments. I really want to hear from you, because it's like I don't know anything. I've done that before. I'm like, I don't really know. What do y'all think? And sometimes that's appropriate when I do it. But when other people do it, I think he might be hiding from giving a more passionate take. Who knows? Who knows? But I think you sit this one out, Russell. I just think that this is... I think you and Matt should just sit it out. That's just the advice that I have. You remember how Newsom was suing Jesse Waters over his coverage of the whole Trump call with Newsom? Newsom says there wasn't a call. Trump says he had a call yesterday, but it was actually like multiple days ago. So Newsom's like, lol. Fox News is like, Newsom's lying. Really, Newsom wasn't lying. So Jesse Waters addressed it, since Newsom was asking for an apology and sort of correct the record, but in his sassy Jesse Waters type of way.
You might have heard that Governor Newsom sued Fox News. He didn't even ask for a correction first. He just sued. I invited him on the show to talk it out man to man, but he said no. So we'll have to do it without him. On Tuesday, June 10th, President Trump said this in connection with the LA riots. Listen.
Mr. President, when is the last time you spoke with Governor Newsom?
A day ago. Called him up to tell him, got to do a better job. He's doing a bad job.
Newsom responded on X, there was no call, not even a voicemail. We took that to mean there was no call, ever, period. Wouldn't you? President Trump sent Fox's...
I think I would assume that there was no call yesterday. I get how you could misread it, to be totally honest. I get how you could misread it and be like, oh, he's saying they never called. But that would be a strange proclamation to make. Me and Trump have never called ever. Like, no one assumed he meant there was never a call ever. But was saying that call that Trump's referring to, fabrication. And again, that sounds like we're splitting hairs. But not really, because the whole question was, during the time when the National Guard was being deployed, was Trump coordinating with Newsom or not? Was he giving him the respect that a governor normally would get by coordinating, by updating him? Or was he just doing this unilaterally? So Newsom was saying, we talked before all of this, but in the span of time where he made all these big decisions that escalated things, he didn't give me a call. That's why it became a point of contention.
John Roberts, a screenshot showing that Trump and Newsom did have a call the previous Friday night, the first night of the riots. Based on what we knew at the time, I asked, why would Newsom lie and claim Trump never called him? Newsom says he meant there was no call, not even a voicemail, a day ago. And he was arguing about only when the call took place, not whether there was a call. Newsom thinks it would have been clear if we had played the full clip where President Trump said they spoke a day ago. Well, we left that out because it didn't seem relevant. Mm-hmm. We thought the dispute was...
Okay, I get this isn't the great... I mean, it's funny that Newsom chose this to sue him over because it's not the most consequential lie they've told. But it's so funny because we know why you cut that out. We know why you cut that out, because you did a whole segment going, look at the call logs, the phone call did happen. And the only part of the video you played was Trump going, we talked and it was a conversation, but you cut out him saying a day ago, and that does change it. And it's funny because every clip that was posted had that in it. So you went and you trimmed out that part so that the log would make more sense. That's what happened, but okay, you don't have to tell.
A day ago? Well, we left that out because it didn't seem relevant. We thought the dispute was about whether there had been a call at all, not when.
Ever.
We thought the governor was clear when he said without qualification that there was no call. Now Newsom's telling us what was in his head when he wrote the tweet. He didn't deceive anybody on purpose, so I'm sorry. He wasn't lying. He was just confusing and unclear. Next.
Okay, so that was his I'm sorry. Leave this up. What Newsom's responding to is the transcript of Trump saying a day ago, called him to tell him, gotta do a better job. Newsom said there was no call, not even a voicemail. Americans should be alarmed that the president deploying Marines onto our streets doesn't even know who he's talking to. It leads with a day ago. Now, I do get how you could read that as, like, nowhere in this process has there been a call when there was one a few days ago. But that doesn't really, I don't think Newsom could win a case on this, by the way, at all. And I don't really support that he brought the case. I get what he's doing, but it's, as we're attacking Trump for bringing all these lawsuits against people and just throwing them, his are way more baseless, but still, I don't like people in positions of power for things like this, throwing lawsuits at media companies. Especially when it's contrasted. I just want to keep our focus on the insane Trump lawsuits that he's doing. But irrespective of that, we know Waters was being dishonest when they trimmed out a day ago. That makes it clear that they kind of knew what Newsom was saying and didn't want to have to admit that. There's more that I want to talk about, so we're just going to do it. I guess, is the Ring of Mordor from Lord of the Rings? Mordor. I've watched it. People are going to get upset. I have watched it. It was just a long time ago when I was a kid, and every time I tried, I took a little sleepy. Too long. I get that they're great movies. Just too long for me. And scary, Schmeagol. Or wait, what is it? Gollum. I am Gollum. It's just like, ugh. Why are you so weird? You're like a skinless cat, hairless cat, not a skinless cat. But here is Alex Jones saying that Trump is putting on the Ring of Mordor. I think that means evil.
The Ring of Mordor is right there. I can just go right now. It's very tempting. I would become a terrible king. But I'm not going to put on the ring. Trump put it on, boys and girls, he was flirting, putting it on and off until Butler. He put it on. When he hit the ground, you see that photo of him on the ground bleeding. You look at that face.
He was putting it on and off? I don't think that's how it works in the movie. He's just like...
When he popped back up, ring went on. And that's what's going on. That's the best analogy, but it's not a movie. That's a great archetype. It's not a book. It's what that book is based on in the real world as an allegory about the genius J.R.R. Tolkien. And so, Trump's enemies ought to really watch out because he put it on. And what he's saying to everybody is, you better get out of my way. And I'm a chronicler.
I can't tell if this is positive or negative. He's like, when Trump was shot in Butler, he put the ring on. Like the bullet was coming, and then Schmeagol came up and was like, eh. I don't know. Again, I might botch the lore here. Or Gollum, whichever one. I don't know. This is two personalities thing, but Schmeagol says, put on the ring. And you can survive. And so he was like, and right when he puts it on, he's like, and dodges it, and then falls to the ground. And as he's feeling his newfound king powers, he goes, Shoes. I need my shoes. Which is what he was saying, right, as he fell to the ground. Oh, when he was getting up off the ground. All right. But Alex, he's saying, what is he saying? Why would it have been Butler? He's saying that's when Trump turned evil?
I alone can tell you of the days of great adventure. But see, that's my archetype. My job is to tell you what I really think. And that means I can't comport myself into these different factions and, groups and all the rest of it.
We don't want you. I'm a new member of the deep state, as I found out yesterday, and we have rejected your application. This is what Jones's followers don't realize. He wants to be in the deep state. He keeps applying secretly. And we look at his application every year, and we're like, okay, been a conspiracy theorist for 4,500 years. And he, interesting, lost a lot of weight recently, doing something magical. And all right, not great family situation, sued, $1 billion. All right. Rejected. And that's why he has so much animus towards the deep state, is because he just feels left out. On a serious note, it does crack me up when people are like, all of these powerful groups, that's why I can't join them. It's like, it sounds like you really want to be in it. Whatever it is, whatever conspiracy theorist group it is, you want to be in it, clearly. But that's why I choose not to. Like, if there was an Illuminati or whatever, or the deep state, you think they would want Alex Jones? Even before all of this. Even before he became the I don't like the deep state guy. You think they would want him? What is he going to bring to the table? A fun party trick where he can speak in a way where it sounds like he's wood chipper. Who needs that? Not me. By the way, this is Pep. My brothers and I, we're all obsessed with energy drinks. And so a year and a half ago, right as the show was kind of getting some steam, I was like, oh my gosh, what if we made our own energy drink and we could get it out in a few months? Took a year and a half instead to craft the perfect drink that gives you that energy boost without the guilt of the nasty ingredients that other drinks have. I really would appreciate supporting myself, this family business, and a cause that I really believe in. One of the reasons that I don't do constant, and that's why I'm sponsored by blah blah blah. I grabbed the Constitution. You get it? I'm only sponsored by the Constitution and Pep. But I don't do a lot of those ad reads, and by I don't do a lot of them, I don't do any of them except for one Ground News one, which really restricts the show's revenue ability. Is because I want to have a relationship with y'all that when I do say that I believe in something, it's because I do. And it's actually something that I worked on and that that solves a problem in my life. All natural ingredients, live probiotics, 15 calories per can only, 15, 150 milligrams of caffeine, 0 artificial sweeteners, no artificial colors, etc. Drinkpep.com. Drinkpep.com. I would appreciate just a big surge today of orders. Thank you all so very much. All right, let me wrap up today on one other story here. Okay, do you remember how Trump fired the prosecutor from who prosecuted Epstein, Maureen Comey, and she's James Comey's daughter, so that sort of put her on Trump's bad side, and then there's just a strange phenomenon that she would be fired after she prosecuted Epstein amid all this Epstein backlash. Well, she wrote a scathing letter in response to her firing, saying, yesterday was unexpectedly my last day in the office. Oh, thank you to Dragonblade for becoming a member by clicking the join button. I appreciate that. Thank you, Kathy. Mid BC1 said, why believe Trump at all? He destroys everything. Okay, so yesterday was unexpectedly my last day in office. I was summarily fired via memo from Maine Justice that did not give a reason for my termination. Every person lucky enough to work in this office constantly hears 4 words to describe our ethos. Lethality. No, as Pete Hegseth. Without fear or favor, do the right thing. the right way, for the right reasons, without fear of retribution, without favor to the powerful. No pressure. For the majority of my nearly 10 years in SDNY, Southern District of New York, fear was never really conceivable. We don't fear bad press. We have the luxury of exceptional security keeping us physically safe. And so long as we did our work with integrity, we would get to keep serving the public in this office. Our focus was really on acting without favor. That is, making sure people with access, money, and power were not treated differently than anyone else, and making sure this office remained separate from politics and focused only on the facts and the law. But we've entered a new phase where without fear may be the challenge. If a career prosecutor can be fired without reason, fear may seep into the decisions of those who remain. Do not let that happen. Fear is the tool of a tyrant, wielded to suppress independent thought. Instead of fear, let this moment fuel the fire that already burns at the heart of this place, a fire of righteous indignation at abuses of power, of commitment to seek justice for victims, of dedication to truth above all else. It has been an honor to fight for those principles by your side. And that's pretty powerful. That's pretty powerful. On that note, I appreciate all of you so much, and I'll talk to you next time.